What if your thoughts were the blueprint of your reality? What if ancient wisdom held the key to lasting happiness, not in the world outside, but in the mind within? And what if, by simply shifting how we think, we could transform how we live? Welcome to the heart of Buddhist positive thinking, a practice not built on wishful thinking or forced optimism, but on deep clarity, mindfulness, and compassion. In Buddhism, positive thinking is not just a nice idea, it's a transformative path that leads us toward lasting peace, purpose, and presence. The foundation of positive thinking in Buddhism. Imagine a life where every thought plants a seed. Some seeds grow into joy, others into suffering. According to Buddhist wisdom, this is not imagination. This is how the mind works. Buddhism teaches that our thoughts shape our reality. The way we perceive the world becomes the lens through which we live it. The mind isn't just a passive observer, it's the creator of our experience. But what does Buddhism really mean by positive thinking? It's not about forcing ourselves to feel good all the time or ignoring life's problems. It's about training the mind to see reality clearly, without being attached to pleasure or averse to discomfort, and to respond from a place of equanimity, gratitude, and kindness. At the core of this practice lies the understanding of karma and mental conditioning. Every thought we think is a seed sown in consciousness. Over time, it grows, shaping our emotions, behaviors, and even our future. If we constantly focus on fear, anger, or resentment, those patterns become ingrained. But if we consciously choose thoughts of love, patience, and wisdom, our mind begins to lean naturally toward peace. The Buddha emphasized this power through the teaching of right thought, one of the essential steps on the Noble Eightfold Path. Right thought calls us to guide the mind towards selflessness, compassion, and understanding. When we let go of narrow, self-centered concerns and begin to see the interconnectedness of all beings, the world transforms, from a place of threat to a space of opportunity and connection. Mindfulness and mental cultivation. The tools of inner transformation. One of the most effective ways to begin this journey is through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness allows us to pause and observe our mental habits. It helps us notice when we're spiraling into negativity and gently brings us back to the present moment. It's like stepping out of a storm and finding shelter, right here, in our own awareness. Instead of being caught in waves of anxiety or judgment, we learn to watch our thoughts with clarity and calm. We begin to choose which thoughts to water and which to let go. In parallel, meditation, especially metta, loving kindness meditation, plays a vital role. Meditation, or bhavana, which literally means mental cultivation, is not about escaping problems. It's about meeting them with a balanced, kind, and courageous mind. Through loving kindness meditation, we cultivate goodwill not just for others, but also for ourselves. We train the heart to remain open, even in difficulty. The Buddha taught, "With our thoughts, we make the world," and this teaching is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. If we nurture a mind filled with gratitude, clarity, and patience, we begin to create a life that reflects those very qualities. The world around us may be unpredictable, but the world within us, that's where our power lies. Ultimately, the foundation of positive thinking in Buddhism is not about blind optimism or ignoring suffering. It's about seeing life as it truly is, then responding with wisdom, peace, and love. Through mindfulness, gratitude, and compassionate thought, we begin to reshape our entire experience of reality. The more we practice, the more naturally our mind leans toward joy, and the more peaceful our lives become. So how exactly does mindfulness help us shift our mindset? How does it change the way we respond to daily emotions and thoughts? Let's explore that in detail. Turn with me now to page 2, where we dive deeper into mindfulness as the gateway to a truly positive mind. In the previous part, we explored how Buddhist positive thinking is rooted not in illusion or blind optimism, but in clarity, wisdom, and conscious choice. Now let's deepen this journey by understanding the powerful role of mindfulness and compassion in reshaping how we think, feel, and respond to the world. Mindfulness, the anchor of a positive mind. The true power of transformation lies in awareness. When we become conscious of our thoughts and patterns, we gain the ability to shift them. Most of our suffering doesn't come from reality itself, but from the mind's habit of replaying the past or fearing the future. We dwell on regrets. We rehearse worst-case scenarios, and in doing so, we reinforce negative states of mind that cloud our ability to live fully in the present. This is where mindfulness becomes our greatest ally. By returning our attention to the here and now, we interrupt that cycle. We create a pause, a sacred space between stimulus and response, and in that space, clarity and peace naturally arise. One of the simplest and most profound ways to practice mindfulness is through breath awareness, known in Buddhism as anapanasati. By gently focusing on the inhale and exhale, we train the mind to stay present. When negativity arises, self-doubt, anger, fear, we don't suppress it. Instead, we redirect attention back to the breath, allowing thoughts to pass without clinging to them. The Buddha often compared the mind to the sky and thoughts to clouds drifting through it. When we observe thoughts without identifying with them, we gain freedom. Rather than saying, "I am anxious," we say, "Anxiety is arising." This subtle shift creates emotional distance, and with it, a sense of calm and control. Mindfulness also nurtures gratitude. When we bring full presence to the simple joys of daily life, a warm meal, a meaningful conversation, the golden sunlight on our skin, we begin to see how much goodness surrounds us. The more we notice the good, the more naturally the mind gravitates toward positivity. Perhaps the most transformative gift of mindfulness is this: it breaks the chain of automatic reactions. In moments of stress, instead of snapping, we breathe, we pause, we choose. Buddhist teachings remind us, what we focus on grows. If we constantly water seeds of anger, envy, or despair, those emotions flourish. But if we choose to cultivate kindness, patience, and understanding, we create an entirely different inner landscape. Mindfulness isn't about forcing happy thoughts. It's about clearly seeing reality and choosing again and again the thoughts that lead to peace. Compassion and loving kindness, the heart of true positivity. In Buddhism, positive thinking goes beyond personal well-being. It becomes a way of radiating kindness and care to all beings. A truly positive mind is one that is rooted in metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion. Loving kindness is the active practice of wishing well for ourselves and others. It replaces judgment with goodwill, hostility with warmth. The Buddha said, "A mind filled with loving kindness is like a lamp. It shines on everyone without discrimination." When we cultivate metta, we free the heart from bitterness. Our perspective shifts. We stop seeing others as threats and begin to see them as fellow travelers on the path. Compassion, meanwhile, is the ability to recognize suffering and respond, not with despair, but with care. Many misunderstand compassion as carrying others' burdens, but in Buddhism, it's about seeing pain clearly without becoming overwhelmed by it. True compassion is born from wisdom. It understands the suffering, yet remains stable, gentle, and open-hearted. One of the most powerful ways to develop this quality is through loving kindness meditation, metta bhavana. In this practice, we silently repeat heartfelt phrases: "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free from suffering." We begin with ourselves, then extend these wishes to loved ones, strangers, and even those who have harmed us. Over time, this rewires the mind, literally. Modern neuroscience confirms that regular metta practice boosts positive emotions, reduces stress, and strengthens well-being. Self-compassion, the foundation of a peaceful inner world. Surprisingly, one of the hardest people to be kind to is ourselves. Many of us are harsher with our own mistakes than we would ever be with someone else. But Buddhism teaches, if we wish peace for others, we must also offer it to ourselves. Self-compassion isn't self-indulgence. It's the starting point of a resilient, joyful mind. When we forgive ourselves, when we treat ourselves with the same gentleness we offer to a child or friend, we create space for healing and authentic growth. The Dalai Lama once said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." This truth reminds us, a truly positive life isn't built on chasing pleasure or avoiding discomfort. It's built on connection, on seeing ourselves and others with an open, loving heart. Compassion dissolves the invisible walls that divide us. Instead of resenting others' success, we celebrate it. Instead of reacting to anger with anger, we meet it with understanding. This shift doesn't just change our minds, it changes our world. By making compassion and loving kindness daily practices, we nourish a deep, enduring positivity. Not the surface-level kind, but the kind that sustains us through anything. In the next part, we'll explore how to integrate these powerful teachings into everyday life, so they become more than just philosophy. They become your natural way of being. Let's continue to page 3 and walk deeper into this path of peace. In the previous section, we explored how mindfulness and compassion are powerful tools that help us cultivate a peaceful and positive mindset. Now let's go a step further, into the realm of transforming negativity into something meaningful and healing. Transforming negative thoughts and emotions. Negative thoughts and emotions are a natural part of being human. We all feel anger, sadness, fear, or jealousy at times, but Buddhism reminds us of a liberating truth. We are not our thoughts, and we don't have to be ruled by them. Instead of pushing away negativity, pretending it doesn't exist, or letting it consume us, Buddhism offers a third path: awareness, acceptance, and wise response. The first step is recognizing a core insight. Thoughts are not reality. We often believe everything the mind tells us, but thoughts are just fleeting mental events, like clouds drifting across the sky. They rise and pass. They are not permanent. They are not who we are. When we truly understand this, we can begin to observe our thoughts without becoming entangled in them. One powerful practice for this is mindful observation, often cultivated through vipassana meditation. When a difficult emotion arises, like anger or fear, we don't resist it. Instead, we gently turn toward it with curiosity. We might ask, where do I feel this emotion in my body? What thoughts are feeding it? Is this emotion lasting, or will it pass? Through this inquiry, we begin to see that even intense emotions are not as solid as they seem. They rise, they peak, they dissolve. Non-attachment and compassion, softening the heart. Another essential tool is the practice of non-attachment. Much of our suffering comes from clinging to ideas, identities, or emotions as if they're permanent. Instead of saying, "I am angry," we shift to, "Anger is arising." This subtle shift in language creates distance. It gives us room to respond rather than react. Compassion also plays a key role in this transformation. Often, behind emotions like resentment or frustration, there is pain. Instead of fueling that pain with more resistance, we can meet it with self-compassion. We remind ourselves that suffering is universal and that we're not alone in what we feel. This shift, seeing pain with kindness rather than judgment, softens the heart and opens the mind. Gratitude and Tonglen, redirecting the mind. Another powerful antidote to negativity is gratitude. When our mind is caught in darkness, we can gently redirect it toward light. A simple practice? Every morning, list 3 things you are grateful for. This small act begins to rewire the brain, training it to notice what is going well rather than what is lacking. In Tibetan Buddhism, there's also a profound practice called Tonglen, or giving and taking meditation. In this meditation, we imagine breathing in the pain and suffering of others, and breathing out relief, kindness, and peace. At first, it may seem counterintuitive, but in time, this practice opens the heart, deepens compassion, and dissolves the ego. It reminds us that we are interconnected, and that by holding space for others, we also free ourselves. Stop feeding the negative loop. Here's a powerful truth. Negativity grows when we feed it. If we constantly replay old arguments, dwell on resentments, or speak harshly to ourselves, those mental patterns only strengthen. But if we consistently nurture positive qualities through meditation, mindfulness, and kindness, negativity gradually loses its grip. Transformation isn't about suppression. It's about meeting every emotion, pleasant or painful, with presence and wisdom. Through daily awareness, compassion, and intentional redirection, we build a mind that is calm, steady, and truly positive. Mudita, rejoicing in others' joy. Now let's look at one of the most beautiful and often overlooked teachings in Buddhism, mudita, or sympathetic joy. In a world filled with comparison and competition, this practice offers something radical, genuine happiness for the success and joy of others. We've all felt the sting of jealousy. Maybe someone achieved something we longed for. In that moment, it's easy to feel small, envious, or left behind. But Buddhism teaches that envy only creates suffering. It reinforces the illusion of separation and lack. Muddily shifts us from scarcity to abundance. It reminds us, someone else's happiness does not take away from our own. In fact, celebrating their joy adds to our own reservoir of happiness. The Buddha described muddily as one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, the sublime states, alongside loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity. Just as we practice compassion for those who suffer, we can train ourselves to feel joy for those who thrive. A simple way to begin is through intentional gratitude for others' success. When envy arises, pause and silently offer a wish. May they continue to experience joy. This shift may feel small, but it can change everything. When we practice mudita, we dissolve inner conflict. We strengthen connection. And we step into a life where joy isn't limited. It's shared, multiplied, and magnified. In the next section, we'll bring all these teachings together and explore how to live each day with a truly positive, resilient, and awakened mind. Let's continue to page 4 and integrate this wisdom into everyday life. Previously, we explored mudita, the joy that arises from celebrating others' success, an antidote to envy, and a key to genuine happiness. Now, let's continue by learning how to deepen this mindset and embrace another essential truth. Nothing lasts forever, And that's what makes life beautiful. Rewiring joy, the power of mudita meditation. When we make it a habit to sincerely wish others well, may their joy continue, may their success inspire others, may I find my own path to fulfillment, we gradually recondition the mind. Over time, this rewiring shifts our reflex response from comparison to celebration, from threat to connection. It may feel unnatural at first, but just like training a muscle, the more we practice, the more natural it becomes. And eventually, we begin to see the world with a heart that is open, generous, and unafraid. A beautiful practice that supports this shift is mudita meditation. In this practice, we visualize someone, a friend, a loved one, or even a stranger, experiencing great joy, and we allow ourselves to feel their happiness as if it were our own. At first, this may feel forced, but as we continue, something shifts. Feelings of envy dissolve. The walls between me and them begin to soften, because mudita reminds us joy is not a limited resource. Have you ever noticed how contagious joy can be? A friend's laughter, a child's delight, a stranger's smile. These moments remind us that happiness expands when it's shared. When we embrace mudita, we step out of the exhausting cycle of comparison. We stop seeing life as a competition and instead recognize our shared humanity. Someone else's joy does not take from ours. It's simply another reflection of life's beauty. By practicing mudita daily, through meditation, mindful reflection, and conscious appreciation of others, we shift our entire mindset, from scarcity to abundance, from resentment to joy, from separation to connection. And this is one of the greatest secrets of a truly positive and fulfilling life. Embracing impermanence, the key to inner peace. Another profound teaching in Buddhism that deepens positivity is the understanding of impermanence, or anicca. At first glance, this truth can feel unsettling. We long for things to stay the same. We cling to people, roles, emotions, and outcomes, hoping they'll last. But Buddhism gently shows us that accepting change is not a loss. It's liberation. Everything is in motion. Everything is fluid. We suffer when we resist this truth. When we cling tightly to what is meant to flow, we create our own pain. But when we learn to let go, we begin to flow with life instead of fighting against it. Nature offers the perfect example. No season lasts forever. No flower stays in bloom eternally. The same is true for our thoughts, moods, and circumstances. Understanding this allows us to stop over-identifying with passing emotions. If sadness arises, we remember. It's not who we are. It's just a moment. Like all moments, it too shall pass. Impermanence also teaches us to treasure the present moment. Because nothing lasts forever, everything becomes more meaningful. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of a loved one's voice, even the quiet between breaths. When we pause to appreciate these fleeting experiences, gratitude naturally blooms. Joy is no longer something we chase. It's something we notice. One of the biggest sources of suffering is clinging to things that are bound to change. A job title, a relationship, youth, social approval. The Buddha compared this to trying to hold water in our hands. The tighter we grasp, the faster it slips away. But if we hold life gently, with openness and acceptance, we find peace. We stop fearing loss and start embracing flow. Living with lightness, the practice of reflecting on change. A simple yet powerful daily practice is reflecting on impermanence. Each day, remind yourself, everything is temporary. Every joy and every sorrow, every beginning and ending. Life is fleeting, so I will live it fully today. This reminder doesn't lead to despair, it leads to presence. It helps us savor what we have, forgive more easily, and let go of what no longer serves us. When we internalize impermanence, We stop defining ourselves by past mistakes. We allow space for ourselves and others to grow. We release regret and open to renewal. The truth is, everything changes. And that's not something to mourn. It's something to trust. Because in change, we find growth. In letting go, we find freedom. And in every ending, there's space for a new beginning. By embracing impermanence, we open ourselves to deeper gratitude, greater compassion, and an unshakable peace that isn't shaken by life's shifting tides. In the next and final section, we'll explore how to integrate all of these Buddhist teachings, from mindfulness and compassion to mudita and impermanence, into your daily life, so they become living wisdom, not just words. Let's continue to page 5 and discover how to live these truths every single day. In the last section, we embraced the truth of impermanence, how everything changes, and how that realization leads not to fear, but to freedom. Now, let's bring all the wisdom we've gathered into the present moment, where real transformation happens, in daily life. Living positive thinking, bringing wisdom into everyday life. Understanding the power of positive thinking is one thing, but living it, moment by moment, is where real growth begins. Buddhism teaches that true change comes not from intellectual understanding alone, but from consistent, mindful practice. Just like building strength in the body, the mind, too, must be trained daily. And that training starts with small, intentional steps. One of the most practical and powerful tools is setting mindful intentions. Each morning, before the noise of the day begins, take a moment to pause and plant a seed of clarity. Today, I will respond with kindness rather than frustration. I will focus on what I have rather than what I lack. I will welcome challenges as opportunities to grow. These simple declarations may seem small, but they help the mind form new positive pathways, shifting our default response from negativity to awareness. Another essential practice is mindful speech. Words carry energy. The Buddha taught right speech, which encourages us to speak with kindness, honesty, and compassion. When we reduce gossip, complaints, and harsh words, we not only protect our peace, but also create a more positive space for others. Meditation. The foundation of mental rewiring. Meditation remains one of the most powerful methods for cultivating and reinforcing positive thinking. A short loving-kindness meditation, metta, each day, sending sincere wishes of happiness and peace to yourself and others, gradually softens the heart and trains the mind toward goodwill. Another wonderful tool is gratitude meditation. Each evening, pause and reflect on 3 things you're thankful for, no matter how small. The warmth of your bed, a kind word, a quiet moment. This simple act reorients the mind toward appreciation and abundance. We can also practice positivity through selfless action. Buddhism teaches that generosity, dana, brings deep joy. A kind word, a helping hand, a smile, these ripple outward. When we give happiness, we receive happiness. Throughout the day, pause often. Whether you're stuck in traffic, facing a tough decision, or feeling overwhelmed, breathe. Come back to the present. Respond with clarity instead of habit. Self-compassion. The gentle foundation. One of the most essential pieces of positive thinking is self-compassion. No one is calm and positive all the time, and Buddhism never asks us to deny or suppress emotions. Instead, it invites us to notice them, accept their impermanence, and return to balance. If you have a difficult moment, don't criticize yourself. Gently say, "This too is part of the path." Then begin again. Through these small daily practices, setting intentions, cultivating awareness, choosing kinder words, expressing gratitude, embracing impermanence, we don't just think positively. We live positively. And that, in Buddhism, is the true path to happiness, not dependent on the outside world, but rooted in the clarity and strength of the mind. Your mind, your reality, the core of Buddhist positive thinking. Everything we've explored leads back to one profound truth. Your mind shapes your reality. We cannot control every situation. We cannot avoid loss, change, or discomfort. But we can control how we interpret, respond to, and grow from our experiences. Positive thinking in Buddhism doesn't mean forcing happiness or ignoring hardship. It means training the mind to see clearly, to let go of unnecessary suffering, and to nurture peace from within. Through this journey, we've learned that mindfulness helps us step out of autopilot and observe our thoughts with clarity. Compassion and loving kindness free us from resentment and isolation. Negative thoughts aren't enemies. They're like clouds. When we stop identifying with them, they pass. Mudita, the joy in others' joy, opens us to abundance. And most powerfully, impermanence teaches us to live lightly, love deeply, and let go. But remember, knowledge alone is not enough. Wisdom becomes transformation only through practice. Just like water wears away stone, consistent small actions shape the mind. A simple path forward. Here's how you can start. Take a few minutes each day to observe your thoughts without judgment. Practice gratitude by noticing what's already good. Speak kindly to others and to yourself. Pause before reacting. Choose peace over impulse. And above all, remember, every single day is a new chance to train your mind and walk the path of peace. If this video resonated with you, I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel. Here at Buddhist Scriptures, we share timeless teachings and practical tools to help you live with more clarity, compassion, and inner freedom. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which teaching in this video touched you the most? Which one will you begin applying in your life starting today? Let us know in the comments below, because sharing reflections is a powerful part of this journey. Transformation begins in the mind. And the decision to begin, that's in your hands. See you in the next video. Om Om